Good morning. This is Wealth Principle. Hold on, this didn't go live. You've got to go live. Thank you. Good morning. This is Wealth Principle 36. We've got 52 wealth principles. We've been going now for 36 weeks. There are 36 weeks in the past, and there's still, I can't do the math of how many in the future, but Wealth Principle 36 is powerful. Be impeccable with your word. I'm being very clear that I don't know how many more there are off the top of my head, but I know if you go to gualtermo.com and click on the 52 Weeks to Wealth blog, you can go and check every single one of the 52 wealth principles. And on the side of them, Mike Shine helped me add the 52 books of the week. So they're all in there. I have someone who transcribes all my videos, and he asked me to give a quick little description of what Wealth Principle 36 is before we dove into the rest of the video. So I want to start with impeccability of your word is two separate words. Well, to be, obviously, to think is to be, but impeccable means detailed, certain, perfect, dialed in. Impeccable is there's no mistakes. There's no missing parts. Everything is exactly what it's supposed to be, impeccable. And your word is not just a word, it is the things you say, the things you speak, your language, how clearly you communicate would be. To be impeccable with your word is to actually translate what's inside of you. You've heard the saying, as within, so without. Hands to the camera. I love that saying. As within, so without. What it states is that how you feel and think inside is what you will manifest in the real world. If you see somebody frustrated and upset with you, it's because on some level, you're frustrated and upset with yourself. Is this making sense? Excellent. We agree that we can influence ourselves. Yes, we can influence ourselves. And so we can influence other people. As within, so without. Being impeccable with your word, it runs across the four levels of influence. There is self-influence, there is one-on-one influence, there is group influence, and then there's worldwide influence. Each one of those levels becomes more and more important to learn and be impeccable with your word. One mistake with your word can have huge impact when dealing with a one-on-world video or one-on-world influence. Is this making sense? We have certain people in politics who disagree. Who knows this guy? Recognizes that face? Is he impeccable with his word? You can show me by a nod of head. Yes or no? There's a lot of people who disagree with the things he says. Yes. But the power of word is what's gotten him presidency. He said a long time ago in one of his books, Think Big and Kick Ass, he said, if I can get half of America to hate me, I can be the president. And that's true. Absolutely true. There are other ways to do it, but that was the model that he subscribed to, and he has nailed it. Being impeccable with your word means telling yourself exactly what you want to become. Affirmations. Who's heard affirmations before? Done affirmations? Absolutely. The reason they work is because you're getting very clear about your language and what you want to become, seeing something new that you'd like to be. Who here, and I'll tell a little story on this one because it's close to home. Recently, a few people have contacted me saying that, my family member isn't as successful as I'd like them to be, or they're not as happy as I'd like them to be. I'd like them to be more happy. I'd like to enjoy life more. Who here knows that there's somebody in their life that could use a little more happiness, a little more clarity around what they're doing? Excellent. So pay attention and take notes, because this lesson is for everyone, regardless of whether you're in personal development, real estate, looking to make $1 million. Who here would like to make $1 million? That's why you're in the mentorship. Who here would like to make far more than $1 million? Awesome. So we're on the same page. So I was speaking to two of these individuals, and they're very close to me, family and friends, and they said that this person means a lot to them, and they really want them to be successful, but I just can't see how they could. It seems like, and you can visualize the person you're thinking of, it seems like they have so much potential, but I can't seem to get them to do the right things. And so I asked the question to you, and I'll ask the question, I asked it to them. Well, do you actually believe that they have the potential? And the words were not, the words were good, right? The words were good, but the tone was not good. Well, yeah, they're so good at specific things. And the conversation changed to, well, do you believe that they're so good at the things they want to be good at? Well, yeah, probably. And as the conversation continued, you start seeing the weakness in the words. Is this making sense? When you change how you feel about somebody, because it starts in here, when you change how you feel about somebody, your words will improve. Now, that's the emotional side, because tonality is a lot of language. So being impeccable with your word is more than just the physical words. So I don't want to go and start this lesson without going back and talking about true communication. Is that okay? Tonality comes from how you feel. Have you ever been extremely upset but been able to put out a really positive tone? Say somebody calls you in the middle of rage or angry, yelling, and then switch over. Maybe it was your parents. Maybe your mom did it. Who here has a parent who knew how to just turn on the sweet sound when somebody was calling? Yes? My mom has a gift. Let me tell you. Yelling, suddenly, hey, this is Betty, how are you? Fascinating. But most people don't have that. And if they do, they're not very good at it. So it's a matter of changing first. Change inside how you feel, and then suddenly there's nothing you can do to stop it. You couldn't try to be mad if you're happy. If you're feeling full of life, it just comes out. If you believe in somebody, it just comes out in your voice and your tonality. And so speaking clearly with energy and emotion will help you influencing other people. We talked about the power of a team, and you can't control them. You cannot control a team. All you can do is influence. And so being impeccable with your word and your tone and your feelings and emotions around the person, write this down. Everybody is better at something than me. Everybody is better at something than me. And then on the side of it or underneath it, you can write, fortunately, those are the things I don't want to do myself. Everybody is better at something than me. Fortunately, those are the things I don't want to do for myself. Let that one sit. Let that one settle in. Then there's one-on group influence. Your energy is so important when you're on stage, when you're in a training, when you're running a team meeting. Your energy is extremely imperative when it's you and more than two people, because the influence level becomes more increased, more intense. Right now, I believe we have, just in our mentorship, this room here, 21 people. There's Ken Hoffman and Doug. So you guys sneak in. Mike Strong, good to see you. The influence level the skill set has to increase the amount of influence that you have now. Your mind has to now be in tune, not just with your tone, but the clarity of your words become far more important. Notice the words need. Every so often, somebody will say it, and I'll be like, well, be careful. Need comes from a place of scarcity, right? We've heard me call you out on that. Want comes from a place of desire, and I am comes from a very powerful, clear place. In fact, in some coaching calls, when I've said, well, do you need to or do you want to? I say, well, no, I need to. Oh, dangerous. You got to shift over to want. You got to want it. Otherwise, you're not going to go after it. And then when they get to I want, we shift it over to, are you going to? Well, look, if you can't even say it, if you can't even say it, it's going to be very hard to go manifest it. Right? It's going to be very hard to manifest if you can't commit to this. Is this making sense? So listen to your words. Believe it or not, you are not in control of them. They're just coming out of you. You think you're smart. You think you're a powerful sentient being. And some of you are emotionally aware enough to actually be. But for most people that I've communicated with on this planet, most people The words are just coming out on autopilot. You're just kind of there paying attention. Is this making sense? You have those moments. You know what I'm talking about. Start paying attention to those words and start cleaning them up. Be your own coach. The word try is a dangerous word. Are you going to do it or you're not? We got to become impeccable with our words so that we can become more powerful influencers in the world, so that we can inspire other people to be better, to get to that next level, to really take it to the next notch of your existence, of your income, of your wealth, of your happiness and relationships. Do you think you could inspire your family to be happier? Kids, spouse, cousins, brothers, sisters, family, parents? Absolutely. But it starts in here with you becoming that kind of person who can inspire other people. It starts in here with your words and your thoughts. And you can control them only if you premeditatively spend time doing that. Every Sunday, I spend time in meditation. Who here has ever contacted me on a Sunday? I respect you all. Thank you. Except for Terry. Freaking Terry. Oh, and Melissa, it's true. Yeah. But my response time is extremely slow on a Sunday. Extremely slow. If you get a response at midnight, it's common for me because all day I was doing something. I was literally doing absolutely nothing physically, but mentally just focusing on what did I say right? What did I say wrong? How can I improve? Where is this community going? Where do they all want to be? This community is not based on my desire. It's based on how do I get my goal of building millionaires? I find people with the similar goal, and then I say, how do they need to get there? And that's where I can say need, because it's up to you. Your success level, I can't control. I have no control over. All I have is influence. So when it comes to other people, do they need this or not? Do they want it or not? Are they going to do it or not? You see the 3 levels of desirability? Write those down. Very important. Need, want, desire. You can do it with internal influence and you can do it with external influence. Need, want, desire. Those are 3 levels that humans use to convince each other and convince themselves. I used to say this often, who are you trying to convince? When somebody would tell me a story about why they couldn't be successful, why it was so hard for them, and I'd look at them and say, okay, who are you trying to convince? Is it me or is it you? Oh, no, I'm not trying to convince anybody of anything. Who knows that this is the response? I'm not trying to convince anybody of anything. I'm just telling you how it is. How it is. How their perception was of their reality, how they saw it. And so that's when you as a coach, as a mentor, somebody who's looking to bring other people up, you can now take the opportunity to say, this is how I see you. And this is how I see how it could be. Because you have to use words like could be or pretend or let's just imagine, because they can't quite see it in their reality yet. Is this making sense? How their reality is so powerful that it's got control over them, where if you say, who are you trying to convince? They now see, nobody, this is it. This is real life. It's pretty fucking bad. I mean, you've never had to live the way I live. You've never been through what I've been through. You don't have to, here believes you don't have to go through something to be able to empathize and understand it. Hands to the camera if you think you could empathize and understand something. Excellent. At this point, before we dive any further, Mike Shine, I'd like you to bring the book of the week up. This is, and Dorina, since I know you got it in front of you, The 4 Agreements by Miguel. How do you pronounce his last name, Mike?
Don Miguel Ruiz.
Don Miguel Ruiz. Tell us about the book.
Personally, this is the one that started it all for me. Brenda and I started doing the Miracle Morning, and I remembered that my friend gave me this book 20 years ago. It was in my basement. And I went down, I said, I finally have to read this book. And the day I read it, it changed everything. And the reason it changed everything is because the first agreement is be impeccable with your word. And when you have to say nothing negative about yourself or other people, you come home from work and you're like, I have nothing to say. I said that to Andrew yesterday, because 90% of what we were doing was just complaining. And when you stop complaining, your whole life transforms. It's amazing. This book, just the first agreement, will change your life. And it's an amazing book. So I recommend it. It's a quick read. We have bought probably 20 copies of it because we give it out all the time. So I highly recommend it. Four Agreements, Don Miguel Ruiz. You'll finish it in a day, and then you'll read it again the next day. Thank you very much.
And Mike, because I know you know, what are the other 3 agreements to the 4 agreements?
Oh,
Because
yeah.
be impeccable with your word is extremely important, and to me, by far the most important agreement you can make with yourself. And I'll go into more of that because everybody's asking about time schedules, and I never have enough time in my life. We'll answer all of that in this lesson. So, Mike, what are the other 3?
So the second agreement, which personally, everything's today for me is personally, sorry, is don't take anything personally. And that one's a real, a game changer too, because everybody's living in their own world, in their own reality. So when you stop taking things personally, that's amazing. The next one is don't make assumptions. Don't assume anything. That's another one. People go crazy in their mind. They get that like monkey mind thinking, oh, this person didn't call me back, or this person doesn't like me, or blah, blah, blah. And then you find out that the person, I don't know, phone broke or something silly. So don't assume anything. And then the last one is always do your best. Because if you do your best, then you never have to question if something works out or it doesn't.
If you do your best, you never have to question the rest.
Yeah,
I love it.
Sweet. Sweet. So yeah, that's it. And the author again is Don Miguel Ruiz, and I will put it in the chat. Highly recommend it.
Give Mike Shine a round of applause. Mike Shine has personally helped develop the 52 weeks of books. So we had the 52 weeks of wealth. It was something that we had started. Then there were the wealth principles, which they were based around. And once I built all the wealth principles, I sat down with Mike and said, Mike, we've got to come up with the books because people have been asking, what book should I read this week? And if we just had the wealth principle to focus on and contemplate, then the book to go and read and study at the same time, you're able to really digest this concept and principle and take it to the next level in your life. You can take this to whatever degree you want. Your success is not just a responsibility of mine. It's your responsibility. It's your life. You're the one who gets to enjoy whatever level you take it to. Just remember, every level has another devil. And so at that level, you will have to face something. When looking to get to the next level, if you find yourself saying, man, books make me tired, that's your devil. Deal with it. Kill it. Get rid of it. Hide it in a cage. Put it somewhere else. If you find that as you're reading one book a month, finding time to get to the next book is tough. That may be your devil. That may be what's stopping you from getting to the next level. If you find paying for a coach or meeting up with a mentor or going and looking at a deal, looking at a property, calling a real estate agent, calling a mortgage broker, if you find that these are difficult for you, your mind says, well, I don't have time for that. That could be your devil. If you find that you're not willing to research the investments you're getting into, you may be setting yourself up for failure. And that may be your devil. So there's a lot you have to be careful of. But the 52 weeks of wealth are designed to help you get a clear path. For everybody who just signed in, give yourselves a round of applause. It's good to see everybody. Excellent. We've been hanging out with the mentorship. We come on a little bit early. Because I just like seeing their beautiful faces and hearing some of their stories and goofing around with some of you guys. Give everybody in the mentorship a round of applause. Graduates, current members, people who have grown and become coaches. I appreciate each and every one of you. You are impeccable with your word. Every one of you guards your words. You don't say the word need. And if you say it in front of me, you're like, oh, whoops. I'm going to. Very powerful group of people that we're building who are inspiring more people. So I talked about time management. This is a question that comes up all the time in the mentorship. I'm often asked, how do you prioritize what's more important than something else? And who here, hands to the camera if you've experienced this problem before, not knowing which thing to work on. Excellent. So to me, being impeccable in my word, as my success rose and as my notoriety rose, and I had more people asking me, inviting me to do things, I had to start getting very clear about what I wanted to do and what I didn't want to do. I had to get very clear in here in my own head with what was going to move me forward towards my mission and what wasn't, what was just me servicing people who weren't in line with me. Anybody, especially the coaches, know what I'm talking about? Yes. Mentorship members, yes. People who just joined us, of course, yes. Excellent. Throw your cameras on. It makes it more fun for me. Makes me gives me a little more insight into your world, so I can be a little more clear about what's working and what's not working, what you're hearing, what you're not hearing, and just so I can see what you're wearing. You know, maybe those pajamas are something exciting. Mostly, I just like to see your smiles, like to see your face. So if you turn the cameras on, it makes it a lot easier for me to continue what we're doing the right way. That said, time management is bullshit. Doesn't exist. There's no such thing as time management. There is something called priority management. Priority management is real. You always do the things that are a priority to you. You've never, in fact, you've never gone more than a week without sleep. Fair to say, hands to the camera. Anybody gone a full week without at least an hour's sleep? Nobody. Interesting. Who here has slept at least 4 hours every single day this week? At least 4 hours. Excellent. So then that must be a priority. Because if it wasn't, you wouldn't be doing it. Fair to say everybody in here would never sleep again if they didn't have to physically. You just do things you enjoy. Yes, just do more of the things you love. So who here wants to vote for no more sleep? We'll just get rid of it, improve our bodies and minds so we never have to do it again. Excellent. So we're in it's a very similar group. And here's the funny thing. If I said this in any other room, I'd have people who say, no, I love sleep. I wouldn't want to not sleep. Oh my God. You're not living if that was your thought. If your thought was, no, I love sleep, I would rather keep this thing, you are not living life. Either that or your dreams are fucking fantastic, and send us, you should be writing books so we can live and visualize what you're seeing. Make movies. That said, priority one is sleep. It's a requirement. The body requires it. Write it down. Be clear about this. Fuck it. 8 hours of sleep. Let's just say it. Some of you may be like me, require 9-10 hours of sleep. It hasn't stopped my success. I don't care how much you sleep. It does not make a difference. But I will tell you that if you're sleeping because you're not interested in getting up, that could be a problem. Does that make sense? Now here's the irony. Some weeks I do require 8, 9, 10 hours. Other week, but that's because of the type of work I'm doing. Other weeks, Doreen's seeing it, I'll sleep 4 hours a day and not give a shit. Doesn't bother me because I'm not using this anymore. I'm just moving. The decisions have been made. I don't have to have this so clear. I'm just doing pieces. Know what that kind of work is like? Hands to the camera if you know what that kind of work is like. Excellent. Excellent. So sleep, non-negotiable. Can't get around it. You need it. It's part of the body. And so embrace it. Enjoy it. When it's time to sleep, you sleep. Be peaceful. Enjoy everything that you're doing in the moment you're doing it. Being impeccable with your word is about telling people, yes, I will do this, or no, I will not do this, and always having a solution for them anyway. You've got important people in your life. Hands to the camera if you got important people in your life that you would have a hard time saying no to. Excellent. Do you know that if you were physically not here, you could not help them? Hands to the camera if you have this awareness. That if you were, for whatever reason, transported to, we'll say heaven, say you get transported to heaven and you're in a great place, you can no longer have this positive effect on your family, your friends, these people who are really close to you. So let's just for a moment have that freeing experience where you say, well, if I wasn't here, what would they do? What would you do if I wasn't here, this person asking me? And by spending more time in this space, you become a more powerful person. You can leverage the use of other people, other systems, other ideas. This making sense? Now, of course, there are some things you want to do. And so those things, you let them know you want to do them. but make sure you're doing them because you want to do them. Being impeccable with your word means clearly defining the things that will move you forward, spending some contemplation time thinking about what actually makes money in your business, what actually makes happiness in your relationships, what actually makes your body healthier, spending some cognitive time, actually thinking about what it's going to improve you, because being impeccable with your words only as valuable as the knowledge and plan that you actually have. Does this make sense? You've got to have a clear plan and a clear path for where you're going. And yes, it's okay to pull out the bulldozer and start clearing the path manually. That's fine. If that's part of the plan, some plans involve that. Some plans involve bulldozers, emotional bulldozers. They may be relationships. They may be the simple study of words, the better understanding of the words that are coming out of your mouth. So I want you to write this down as homework. This week, pay attention to the words that are coming out of your mouth. And I want you to highlight 4 words, 4 very dangerous words. The word try, the word can't, the word need, and the word hope. You want to pay attention to what those words are doing for you. That's try, need, can't, hope. You want to replace them with powerful words, but before you replace them, just think about, why am I saying this word? Why is this coming out of me? This is not, by the way, this is not your chance to go and correct everybody in your life. Do not go out there correcting everybody saying, oh, you're using the word try. That's pretty weak. That makes you a dick. I get to do it because I long ago realized I am a dick. I just want to fix everybody and make them fix now. So give yourselves a round of applause for putting up with it. I appreciate you being such an open palate, willing to get yourself to the next level. Not everybody in your life will be so open. And so you have to be gentle with them. You have to have a little bit of patience. Listen to it, understand the effects it's having in their lives. Sometimes it's easier to view other people's mistakes than to fix your own. Yes, we agree that sometimes it's a lot easier just to see other people's problems. When you're inside the situation, it's a little harder. So I'm asking you to go a little deeper. There's also a book called The Surrender Experiment that Mike Shine loves, and Michael Singer wrote it. And what he talks about is, that voice inside your head that's always saying things, talking about what's going to bring you to the next level, what's not, and it's putting that negativity. And, Terry Wager wrote a book called Don't Take Your Own Bad Advice. Terry, when is that book coming out? When do we get to buy that?
We're having a little meeting this week on the wheres and wherefores about when it's coming out, but very, very soon.
Excellent. Give Terry Wager a round of applause. I love a good author. We got a bunch of you guys in here. Mitch Jorsky, Doug McGurk. Ironically, Darina always steals my books for you guys, so I think I do have Doug's over here. Under Construction. There it is. Under Construction. Navigating the Detours on the Road to Recovery. There's Terry's book. So when it comes to, and I wrote a book, Broke to $250,000. Who here has read the book? Hands to the camera if you've read it already. Awesome. Amazon appreciates your money, and I appreciate the fact you're getting to the next level. It's all about understanding. I want to go back and revise that book now that I've read Set for Life. I want to go back and revise and put just like specific little sections to say, hey, by the way, I did this, you do this, right? Like, because the book is a story, and it tells the tale of how you can go from nothing to $250,000 in 2 years. Literally nothing. If you have something, you can probably go to $1 million in 2 years, depending on where you're at, what you've got. If you got $1 million, you can probably get to 2, 3, 4 million in 2 years. It depends on where you're at and what you're doing. But this book is for beginners. And as I read Set for Life, I realized those are the principles that I didn't clearly identify in my own book. Is it okay to go back and fix things if you know it's going to improve a large audience's life? I agree.
Oh, yeah.
Being impeccable with your word is a learning lesson. I wrote that book a few years ago, but I didn't publish it until last year. And now as I read it, I'm like, wow, I've become much more impeccable with my word. Is that okay to be growing, for you to learn and grow? Excellent. I'm glad we agree. When people ask you to do something, There are two options, yes or no. There is only two ever in life. Warren Buffett says that in order to be extremely successful, you have to get very good at saying no to things, saying no to people. On the other hand, there's this whole movement around saying yes. So there's this. Who's watched the movie Yes Man with Jim Carrey? Excellent. Go watch that movie. That's homework. We don't watch a lot of movies, but if we're going to, I'd say Yes Man is good homework for this particular lesson. So Yes Man is the whole concept of saying yes to things, going out and being successful and taking opportunities. And because you're saying yes to enough things, your life starts moving forward faster. If you want to speed up time, say yes. If you want to slow down time and get a little bit of awareness, say no. And it's okay to go back and forth throughout life. As I was writing the book, when I was really deep in writing the book about a month ago, I was saying no to everything and saying yes to the book. And now I've put the book on hold so I can start saying yes. So coaches, anybody who's made $1 million, like to get you on the podcast. I'm starting out the podcast. My assistant this week, Sammy Katz, out in Uganda, he told me, man, we got 70 episodes uploaded. We need more. We just ran out. And so the podcast is going to stop making noise if you don't go out and start taking some people on. So hands to the camera if you'd be interested in jumping on, doing a little interview, podcast style. Awesome. Shoot me a message, shoot me a text. We'll get you on. Brett Reed for sure as well. I know you didn't put your hand up, but we're going to do one. And Mitch Jaworski will do another one. Terry Wager will do another one. Mike Shine. Let me see who we're Doug McGurk. Let's do another one. I gotta amp out and put up some products. So if you're interested to be on the podcast, shoot me a text. Or if you know somebody who's a millionaire, multimillionaire coach in the industry, shoot me a text and make suggestions. I appreciate your opinions. I will literally reach out to anyone. I'm working on, I'm going to message Rod Cleef this week. See, we've talked in the past. Want to see if I can get him on. Darina's also knows him personally. So Aaron Triple Adam, there's a couple of people out there I'll be calling and looking to do another call with. I may do Steve Trang again. Who knows Steve? Follows him. He's a wholesaler. Excellent. Awesome. So it'd be cool.
You know who you got to have on there again if you haven't had him already?
Who's that?
Chris Anderson.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it will turn into much more of a comedy hour, but you got to have him on there.
I've had Chris on 2 times. I think it's time for the third. Finally, I know he's at a really cool level in his business, and I haven't caught up with him for a few months. So thank you, Terry.
I haven't either, but
great suggestion.
Awesome.
I love Chris. He's I think he's got as many units as me. He's around 50 units. Quite the portfolio, and the way he built it was slightly different. Really cool partnerships. So going back to the principle, yes and no. Say yes to what feels good, moves you forward. Say no to anything that doesn't move you towards the path that you want to be. Now, here's where the gray area can be. Some things that will improve your life don't always feel good. That's that devil I was talking about earlier. Every level has another devil. Saying yes to the right book may not feel good in the beginning. It's the result you're looking for. It's after you've read the book. It's after you've improved your mind. Now, saying yes to 6 books in 1 week is foolish. You're setting yourself up for failure. I haven't even read 6 books in 1 week, and I crush books. I may have read 3 or 4 in a week, thanks to Mike Shine throwing me a ton of books, but 6 would be unreasonable. We understand that goals have to be reasonable to attain them. Reasonable for you. Saying read 52 books in a year may be unreasonable for you right now. Don't set that goal if it is. But you could set 12. You could set the goal of 12 books in a year. That's extremely reasonable. You could set the goal of 6 if you're really at the beginning. You could set it as freaking 1. Read my book. If it's just 1, read mine. It'll tell you to read more. But that's a decision that you have to get an awareness of, a gauge. Who here's ever swam before? Swam in water? Run before? Do you know where your stop limit is? You know where your weakness is, where if I keep swimming, I might drown. If I keep running, I might pass out and hit the ground. Everybody knows that there's some sort of wall to be hit. this is just a suggestion to start learning where yours are, start learning your boundaries. And if it's something you want to improve in, start pushing them. Runners don't run 20 miles by only ever practicing on a half mile. Does that make sense? You got to start a little bit at a time. You got to just do a little bit at a time to get to that next level, starting with small things that'll improve your life. So before you start being impeccable with your word, I want you to start writing down what you actually want in life. Take a moment now to write down the top 3 things that you know you want to accomplish within the next 5 years, 3 to 5 years. And this is a question I usually bring to people in the mentorship when I do a one-on-one session. So what do you want to accomplish in the next 3 years? Write down 3 things. Maybe part of health, wealth, and relationships. Don't be too specific, just vague idea of what you'd like to accomplish. I love these exercises because they allow you to actually materialize thought. 3 things you want to accomplish in the next 3 years. Write them down. Excellent. Everybody has them written down?
Did you say 3 years?
Yes, the next 3 years. This is not eat a bowl of cereal. This is big things. 3 years. We're not talking small goals here. But we're not talking 10 years either. 10 years, anything is possible. 3 years has some relative constriction to it based on your past, based on who you are, who you've built at this present moment. 3 things. What is it, Terry?
Red Michael shines.
Uh-oh. Mike's good at math.
The bigger stay home. Come on, who wants to be there with me? 3 years.
3 years to Hector Millionaire. Mike, we're in it. Woo! Give Mike Shine a round of applause.
We can compare our yachts. Like yours is longer, but mine is wider. Yeah.
That's what she said. You walked into it, Mike.
I did.
Never talk about a man's boat.
My, what a large boat you have.
Oh, man, this is digressing. So
It's how you drive it.
oh, guys. Give Mitch Joyce a round of applause. That was good. I didn't think we could continue it, but you found a way to bring it down even further. So we've got 3 things written down that you want to accomplish in 3 years. I hope they're good goals. I hope they're worth changing over. I hope they're worth becoming extremely impeccable with the words you use. Now, words can be poison and words can be magic spells that help, or they can be curses that bring somebody down. The words you use for influence, you can use on yourself. Words like, I'm good at this, or words like, I'm not lucky, or I've never been good at math, or I suck at reading, or I hate reading, or I can't do that because I've never done it before. Those are dangerous words to ever allow to come out of your mouth. Hands to the camera if you know somebody who's ever said them before. Have a friend. Awesome. These are dangerous words. And so if it's dangerous for you, it's even more dangerous for somebody else. Imagine you have kids, and Don Miguel tells a story about a mother who's having a bad day. She's having a bad day. She has a headache. She's stressed out. She's coming home. Everything's going wrong. On her way home, she's manifesting a lot of bad negativity to her. And she gets home and her daughter's in a great mood. Her daughter's young, singing at the top of her lungs, just beautiful sounds coming out of her. She's having fun. She's in a moment of complete bliss. And her mother says, "Shut up. You have an ugly voice." Can you see the effect that could have on a child? So that child makes a cognitive decision. Oh my God, my voice is ugly. I would never want to hurt or offend. And so I'll never sing again. I'll never, ever sing again. Commitment to self. Woman grows up, has a beautiful voice, but nobody ever knows. Because as a child, she was cut off at the knees in a moment of anger and a moment of cursing. Does this make sense? Just know that the people who raised you may have not always been impeccable with their word. Just know that you're capable of more. There's a very good chance that you're capable of significantly more than you've accomplished so far in your life. And it's not their fault. They don't know any better. If it's conscionable, then it's dangerous. But if it's unconscionable ignorance, there's no negativity you can hold towards anybody who's ever sent anything your way. All you can do is feel bad that they have no clue they're doing it to themselves. Because whatever you put out there on somebody else comes back to you. Remember when we were kids, I am rubber, you are glue. Whatever you say bounces off me, sticks to you. That's pretty true. As much as it rhymes and it's fun to say, it's actually a reality. Whatever energy you're putting out there, whatever words you're putting out there, you're getting back. So if somebody's making you feel good, you're probably doing the same to them. There's a good chance that you're a positive influence in their lives. If somebody makes you feel bad, there's a good chance that you could be a negative influence in their lives. I believe a challenge that I'd like everybody to walk away with today is throughout the week, see if you can inspire somebody to smile. Start small. Start with something simple. Can you first, by smiling, and this is how it works. Give me a little smile. Let me see how it looks. There you go. Now look at everybody in the camera smiling and try not to smile. It's fucking impossible. That's so. Give yourselves a round of applause. I appreciate anybody who's willing to smile at me in my direction. The charge that we get from that is so powerful. And the fact that you're willing to comply and work with us in all of these exercises means that you're powerful. It means that you have influence, not only over other people, but of yourself. And it first starts with you having power over your own mind, power over your own thoughts, power over your own emotions before you can go and help anybody else. If you want to get rich, you got to start getting clear with your words. You got to start getting clear with your emotions. Becoming impeccable with your word, it just means becoming a better person. That means deciding to only put out good. It means deciding to build wealth. It means deciding to go and change the world, make it a better place by starting with you, starting with the foundation, starting with the first block, starting by digging the hole and becoming aware of what you're building. And then from that point, building block on block on block, and then the wood, and then the siding and the insulation and the beautiful stuff that everybody will see. But it starts with you. It starts with the dream. It starts with the desire. 3 years from now, you can have what you wrote down. In fact, there's a good chance you can have more than that. Many of you probably underestimated. A few of you probably overestimated. But that's okay. The point is that you got thinking. You started thinking about something that's really important. And being impeccable with your word doesn't stop with time management. It continues into this positivity, but doesn't stop with positivity. It continues into your path to the future, saying every day, I will pull out and accomplish these 3 tasks in the next 3 years. And instead of saying I will, bad programming, say I am accomplishing this. I am creating this in my life. I am building this. Write this down on the side of everything you wrote down, those 3 pieces. Write down, I am. I am doing, and then that piece. I am bringing this into my life. I am changing this relationship. I am building this portfolio, this business. I am getting into that perfect shape. Being very clear about what you are doing. And make sure that nothing you write down has any negativity to it. I am not paying down debt or getting rid of debt. I am paying everything to 0. Getting things to 0. I am not losing weight. I am getting to my perfect weight. I am not getting rid of this relationship. I am improving this relationship. I'm getting this relationship to be perfect, the ideal relationship. I'm not fixing this person, I'm fixing myself. Does that make sense? Excellent. Filling your bank account with dollars is commendable. It's important. It gives you options. But doing it at the sacrifice of your own ethics and morals is unacceptable. It doesn't make sense. I will sell something in a little bit, but I got to tell a story first. Is it okay if I tell a story before I sell? Yes. Is it okay that I sell? Hands to the camera. Feel like, yeah, fuck it, whatever. You gave me enough value today. Might as well sell me something. You don't have to buy it. It's okay. So let me tell you a story. So this week, a person who is very influential in the city, his name's Tony Cadero. He owns an insurance agency, foundation, owns a bunch of real estate. And he's built a business where he gets to work with his family, his daughters, his nephews, and he really loves the life he's built. And his daughter sent me a Facebook message, said, hey, we see what you're doing. You've got a lot of, it seems like you're on the right path. You're doing a lot of great stuff in the city. I'd like to sit you down with my father. My father would like to meet you. And in my head, I was thinking, my God, I wrote it down that he's one of my Dream 100. He's one of the guys I looked up to in the city who really did a lot of work. He's a really influential person. He's got a great relationship with his kids. And I've met him a couple of times in the cigar shop or at restaurants, just handshakes. And you know what he said to me the first time I saw him? He said, hey, look, my time's over. You guys are the next generation. You guys are the next generation. You're doing your things. You've got to learn. You've got to grow. If you ever, have any questions in business, let me know. And I thought nothing of it. Never contacted him, right? 2 years go by. We're sitting at breakfast and the same words came out of his mouth. He genuinely believes it. He genuinely believes that the next generation, you, are here to improve and make the world a better place. But while we were talking, he talked about, and it's cool because, he manifests these things, right? He said, she said, let's go to breakfast. We all go to breakfast. And I'm sitting there thinking, dude, I've paid so much money for coaching sessions like this. I'm getting this for free. And he's buying breakfast. I offered to buy. He said no. So I guess if you want something bad enough, you can have it. You can have the relationships with the right people. What he told me was you have to be moral in business. You have to be moral. But two lessons I picked out of that conversation. There were a lot of things I pulled out of it. But as we're sitting there eating breakfast and, he's choosing his meal and I'm like, I'll get that. And he's like, yeah, I like hot sauce. I'm like, yeah, me too. So I'm not trying to think here. Whatever works for you guys. I'm just here to listen and learn. This is how you meet a mentor, right? Here to listen and learn. And he starts telling stories about how when he was younger, his father told him that you've got to be moral in business. Always do things the right way. And he said, look, I'm not one of those people who will tell you that I got in a lot of trouble as a kid. I didn't. I seemed to always follow the rules, always, stayed in line. I wasn't, very concerned when it came to what other people thought was cool. And I got a very boring childhood from that sense where I just always try to stay inside the line. Whereas a lot of people like to run the line, as I stayed in the line. It was just made far more sense to me. And I always learned where the line was. I made sure I knew where the line was so I could stay inside of it. And I made sure that I did things morally the right way. Now, on the other side of it, he said I was always flexible. And this is what I learned was flexibility. The rules that other people believe exist don't necessarily have to exist. You have to be flexible with the rules of money. Now, do everything morally. Always follow the moral code, what's right, but be flexible. Be flexible in how you go about your life. And he was introducing me to the concept of selling insurance, which I believe in insurance. And here's how I know I believe in insurance. I have a $5 million insurance policy on my properties. That's how I know. I pay that every year. It's almost $15,000 a year that we pay to insurance. Hands to the camera if you know what I'm talking about. Own real estate, pay for insurance. It's smart. So it passes my rule. So that's why I had the meeting. I had the meeting because it was him. And then I said yes to him because it's something I believe in anyway. Every one of my clients has to buy insurance anyway. Yes, you bought a house through me, you bought insurance. Right, might as well get paid for it. So that's how I looked at it. But he said you have to be moral in business and you have to be flexible. He said, I know, you may not want to be a salesperson. I was like, no, I'm a salesperson. Who here knows I'm a salesperson? Yeah, I'm not selling you insurance today. Don't worry. But I am a salesperson. I love selling because I've got good products. Right? If I didn't have a good product, I wouldn't be doing anything in my life. I'd be working on the fucking product. Does that make sense? If you don't believe in what you're selling, work on it. Go get something new. You don't have to sell the same old thing. If you believe what you're selling hurts people or brings people down or isn't a positive influence in the world, go get a new product. Create a new product. Ron and I had to go create a new product. We couldn't find something we could sell that really got what we were looking to get across. But we use other people's products all the time. Foundational 5, those books, I didn't write them, but there's somebody else's product. I'll sell them all day. I don't make a profit from selling those books, but I do inspire you to make a profit, to go out and live a better life. Hands to the camera if you want to make more. Yes. Who's read all of the foundational 5? Hands to the camera if you know you've read them. Excellent. Who's on a mission to read them? Awesome. Give yourselves a round of applause. write that one down in the 3-year goals. I mean, the foundational 5 shit, you can do that in like 5 months, or you can do it in a month. They're really not that hard, but it's up to you and your level wherever you're at. I'm going to sell now. So anybody who doesn't like sales, feel free to jump off. All I'm selling is the opportunity to get to the next level. All I'm selling is the opportunity to learn how this community works, how we work together and do deals together, how we get to that $1 million, how in 3 to 5 years you can build a net worth of $1 million, how you can retire in 3 to 5 years, meaning you never have to work again. I know because I did it, and we have many coaches and members in our community who have done it, and my business partner has done it. My business partner was my first millionaire I ever built. I guess technically I was the first millionaire I ever built, and then I had to go influence other people. And so then it was my business partner. And then it's been dozens after that. People who were just, I was a real estate agent just building millionaires. That was how I built them at the time. Now, as a coach, I'm able to help real estate agents become millionaires and the people they work with become millionaires. It's as I get to that next level, I have to learn a new skill. Remember, every level has another devil. And so what I learned was public speaking. I learned building training courses. And as I started doing it, I realized this is the product I could sell. Self-development, getting you to the next level, building a community of people who care about each other, building a system that can infallibly work to get you to wealth. Now, for many people, $1,000 is extremely successful because many people would rather play video games on Monday night. Right? Who here shows up every Monday night when you were in the program, 8 o'clock every Monday night? You were there. Absolutely. Give yourselves a round of applause for everybody in the mentorship, graduates, everybody who's gone through it. $1,000 is a lot of money if you're looking to stay right where you are, comfortable, don't want to move, don't want to grow, are okay with what's coming, are okay with the inflation that's coming, okay with the bubbles that are about to pop, okay with not knowing where to put your money, knowing how to invest, okay with working 40 to 60 hours a week, some of you 80 hours a week, okay with it for the next 40 years. If you're cool with it, yeah, this program's expensive as hell. I agree. And $1,000 is extremely affordable. Thank you again, Jill Ripley, for stopping me from saying the word cheap. $1,000 is extremely affordable if you're looking to become a millionaire. Look at the return on investment, just from an investment standpoint. $1,000 connects you to all the coaches, connects you to all of the people you'll do business with. People are doing business. Our members do business with each other. They find deals for each other. They find money for each other. They find labor for each other. They partner up. They encourage each other. They support each other. They train and educate each other, because that's the gift that we give. We just connect the right people together. Here's how I know you're the right person. You bought the program. If you were invested enough in yourself to spend the $1,000 in the 8 weeks with us, you're approved. It makes sense, because the wrong people can't afford it. The wrong people cannot muster up the desire to care about people and themselves and their lives enough to become a millionaire to spend $1,000. The wrong people cannot inspire themselves to go and change their community, change their family's situation, change their life in order to come in and do work for 8 weeks. Showing up on Monday nights at 8 o'clock, showing up on Saturday just a little early, showing up to do the trainings online, doing it at your leisure, watching those videos. Who here, mentorship, who here has watched at least one of the videos? Who here knows they got a few more to watch? You guys are doing awesome. We see everything that you do because we see the back end of it. So we know who's moving, who's not moving. We see the hands and I'm like, okay, well, you could do a little more, or you're doing more than you think you're doing. You're outdoing everybody else. So if you've already watched most of the videos, you're doing far more than most people. Most people don't do all of it. But Jill Ripley, you messaged me the other day. You said, yeah, the relationships video, powerful. Yes? Awesome. Give Jill a round of applause for watching the videos, doing it. It's $1,000. You go to gualtermerlo.com/mentor. Super simple. There's payment plans. There's one for, I think, 2 payments of $500 a month. There's one for $1,000. It's your choice whether you want to be mentored. It's 100% your decision in your life, whether you want to get to the next level. I just realized that I don't want to work with people who aren't willing to commit $1,000 to my time. That way, I know they're serious, because I would love to help everybody. Who here knows that I don't answer phone calls? Yes, I'm fucking retired. This is my life. I want to play. I want to play. Who here knows that they would want to just play in their retirement? Yes, yes. And so I respect everybody who texts me and messages me. I respect everybody who, when I commit to being here Saturday at 10, Monday at 5, and Wednesday at 6, that is the time to reach out to me. That is the time to ask me questions. For everybody in the mentorship, you've got my cell phone number. You can text me anytime. For anybody in the mentorship, you can message me anytime. We have our one-on-one session, one time, and then you have all the other coaches. People in the mentorship, have I ever not responded to a text? And I don't intend to. Because the deals you're working on, another question, better question. Everybody in the mentorship, have I responded to your texts? Yes. Have you texted me? Absolutely. Keep doing it. You got good questions. I want to get you to the next level. The fact that you put that $1,000 down, it does not change my life. It changes your life. It means you're invested. It means you're showing up to the calls. It means you're doing the due diligence in these principles. Everybody who watches the 52 Weeks to Wealth watches, but the people in the mentorship, you do. You're a very different group because you've committed to your success. It's a whole other level because this whole community is working with you doing it. You're in here with a tribe of people saying, today, I'm being impeccable in my word. Tomorrow, I'm building a team. I'm talking about the team I'm building. I'm making sure that the things I'm doing are building a company, building a life, building a family, building a body that will help me last, that will help me get to that next level. Wealth Principle 37 is next week. It's another powerful wealth principle. We're really getting into some of the powerful books that me and Mike Shine love. 37 is the depth of your gratitude. So be here next week. This is how you manifest. The depth of your gratitude is the power, the energy behind what you actually want to create in your life. So those 3 things you wrote down, gratitude's a fueling force behind it. And you don't want to miss this one. You want to be here. That said, I do want you to sign up. I will not pressure you in any way until you sign up. And then once you do sign up, we're in it together. Yeah, we're there for your success. You and I are going head on, taking on the world. We're going to turn you into a millionaire. It may take us 3 to 5 years, but that's fucking fine. You got the time. It's going anyway. Time is going to go by anyway. But do it with us. I had one of my mentors tell me a long time ago. He was actually one of my coaches. I used to work for him. And he told me, he's like, Walter, you're going to be successful no matter what. I know that. I know you're going to build a brokerage. I know you're going to buy a lot of real estate. I could tell that you're going to be successful. What he said to me was, I think I can help you get there faster. He said, I think that with my help, you can do it faster. And yes, I'll probably make some money off of you. There's no doubt. He said, there's no doubt, but I want to encourage you and I want to give you what I know knowledge-wise so that you can get to the next level. And it's because people like that paid it forward that I'm here paying it forward. I will not be doing this the rest of my life. This is just something really important for me right now to make sure that I've gotten all of these out. I'll be turning the 52 Weeks to Wealth into a book once we're completed with the training. I don't know what I'll do next year. I don't know if I'll continue to train the 52 weeks or if I'll have one of our coaches do it. But while I'm doing it, take advantage. This is your chance. This is your opportunity. While we're doing the mentorship program, this is your opportunity to plug into it. I don't know how long I'll be doing these things because I know I have bigger things to do. Everybody in here, 3 years ago, were you doing something different? Hands to the camera. 3 years ago, something different? Me too. My life evolves. I play with bigger level players. I get to the next level. I have bigger level students. And so I want to make sure that if you know you're the right person to be moving forward in something like this, take the action now, because I can assure you I will not be doing this forever. Does that make sense? Hands to the camera if you understand how it's important for me to help as many people in this time while I'm willing to serve before I move on to a whole other group of people. So if this is your chance to take your life to the next level, then this is your chance. There will not be too many of these opportunities in life. They say that when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And that is very true. I found to be very true. When the student is ready, the book will appear. It's not always a person. When the student is ready, the team will appear. It's not always a book or a course. It could be a mastermind. It could be a coach. It could be a mentor. It could be a friend. It's all in what you're looking for, you're attracting. So if you're here on this call, you're looking for Wealth Principle 36, be impeccable with your word. Please, this week, be impeccable with your word. If you want to join the mentorship, I want you in it. If you want to join us on every call Saturday, I want you there. If you want to truly change your life, we're in it with you. The calls on Saturdays are free. We don't have to make them free. I could easily charge for this. Everybody agrees? I could charge a couple $1,000s for the 52 weeks of wealth. The reason I don't, because I know there's people out there who need this. The reason we keep this free for this year is because we're building an open funnel, and by putting something free out there, we can bring people who are open to it in. This is our open funnel to get you to the next level. It doesn't, the way this model is built in coaching is this should be charged for, this should be paid for. And so you get in, you get all this value. We offer half of our product for free just to bring you in, just to give you a chance to taste what we're doing. We're giving it away for free so that we can give you the opportunity to get to the next level. Because the next level is where real change starts to happen. Now, can you change and be improved from the 52 weeks of wealth? Yes, of course. No doubt. Who here has already experienced some improvement, some knowledge, some change? Awesome. Give yourselves a round of applause. It's powerful because they're principles. We're not making any of these up. I've read over 300 books. They're principles. They keep showing up book after book after book. I don't care if the book says 7 habits or 3 principles or 5 success secrets or 12 success secrets. They're all pulling from the same pool, and we've just collected them all together, put them all into one, and we've even put the books that they were most powerfully attached to in the 52 weeks. You've got a great tool right here. To get to the next level, though, it takes a little bit of one-on-one. It takes a little bit of group. It takes people. If you want to become a millionaire, you need people around you. You can't do it alone. There is a path to do it alone, but it's a time-consuming path. It takes a long time. I'd rather see you do it in 3-5 years like I did. I'd rather see you embrace a few other people, help other people get rich, be successful, and speed up the amount of income you're making by simply speeding up the amount of value you're adding to other people's lives. That's what this is all about. The mission to build 100 millionaires is a personal mission. It's something I encourage you to take on. It's something I encourage all of our coaches to take on, and they have. The coaches in the program have decided, well, I'm a millionaire. Yes, I'm going to add more value. I believe in building millionaires. This is a machine that is attracting the right people. There you go. Terry gets it. The right people are attracted to this because you see that it's not just about becoming wealthy yourself, it's about teaching other people to become wealthy. That's what the 100 Millionaire is all about. That's what the mentorship is all about, is building you to be the person who can go out and bring more people and build more people up. If we want to kill poverty, we first have to kill it in ourselves. We first have to go out there and become wealthy mentally. We first have to go and develop, and then we can teach. And we cannot kill poverty without teaching. It's impossible. The only way to kill poverty is to first go out and inspire those who are becoming rich to become rich. We can't even call them the poor. We have to call them those becoming rich. To kill that past lack, we have to become better. Nobody else. Does that make sense? Excellent. I'd like to open up to the coaches. Coaches, insights. And if anybody has a question, feel free to put it in the chat, or you can just unmute and ask your question. This is your chance. Coaches, I won't just force you guys, but Terry, Doug, I see you on. Yeah. Okay. We'll do Doug, then we'll do Mike, and we'll do Terry. Awesome.
So one of the things that when you had posted about, the taken out try, can't, that but is one. I don't know if you shared that, but if you can remove but, that when you're communicating with someone and you say the word but, everything you said before but is disregarded. So there's something that goes on inside. And then also notice when you're saying you have to do something. If you're saying things like, I have to do this or I got to do that, notice how you feel about that. And a little tweak on that is I get to do X, Y, or Z. And while that, I'm sure you've heard things like that before, it's really powerful to have the relationship where it's a privilege and an opportunity as opposed to an obligation that you have negative associations to it. So everything is an opportunity. When you start looking at every opportunity with gratitude, it's a game changer. And then the little but thing is, even notice you may use however, and however is just but with a tuxedo on it. So don't do that either. But yeah, always frame in the positive. But yeah, that was just my little nickel of input.
Awesome. Thank you, Doug. So Doug is, he's traveled with Tony Robbins, a coach, and does a lot of hypnosis for people. He's actually created a couple tracks for us, and absolutely phenomenal. His sound quality is better than any of the tracks I've ever created. He's got all the different sound effects. So give Doug a round of applause. Phenomenal coach. We love having you in the program. Mike Shine, I saw your hand up next. Then Terry Wager and Mitch, you were not at your seat.
Hey, well, first of all, I wanted to welcome Henry Reed Morrison, who's a brand new wholesaler, and he's awesome. And he's going to be there Monday night, I believe. And he's totally up for the whole thing and just an awesome guy. But moving on, one of the things, it's sort of a Jedi mind trick with this, is that when you see other people and you're watching them speak, quote unquote, negatively, you're immediately, a lot of people are drawn to be judging that other person. But what you have to remember is by judging that other person, you're going into your own negativity. So spend more time working on yourself than creating someone as negative, because you're creating them as negative. And that just kind of blows my mind. You know, it's so easy to see other people, but not necessarily see yourself is the lesson.
Awesome. Thank you, Mike. Give Mike Shine a round of applause. The holistic attorney. Mike takes his deals and looks at it as how does everybody win? And he's helped us quite a bit with our real estate transactions. So we definitely appreciate having Mike in the group, and just a phenomenal coach. Also, his wife is super spiritual. So half of Mike's books are the books that we read together that are finance. And the other half are the books that are spiritual that we read together because his wife was like, you should read this. So if Brenda's not there, give Brenda a round of applause anyway. She's pretty amazing.
Okay, I'll let her know.
Awesome.
I'm
Thank
at the
you.
office.
Mr. Terrence Wager, Dr. Terry Wager, we have been dying for your input. Where's Christine?
And
she just left.
Just she had to go take care of something real quick. We're in another seminar at the moment too. So here's what I got for you. Wait for it. No, I'm just kidding. One of the things I really think about is with this impeccability with your word is about clarity around what you're saying. The more clear you are, the more influence you can have. The more influence you can have, the more impact on other people you have. And so that's really the thing I think about with what I say when I say it. And we spend a lot of time with how we're thinking about putting things to people and what impact we want to have on them with that. And that's one of the things that I've learned over the years is the more that I can share my point of view or my perspective on things, the more I can influence somebody into moving into a place that's better for them. And the way I do that more than anything is asking them the questions that help them to understand what they really truly want and get clear on what they want. And then I help them put a plan together to move forward with that. And that's the real big piece. Now, just a moment to switch gears and talk about the words that we've been saying that you shouldn't use. Those words for me are really big flags that somebody's having an internal issue that they're not moving forward because of. And so if I hear but, if I hear can't, if I hear try, I don't tell them to stop. I ask them what's going on that they're not moving where they want to be. And so really we can think about it in a more curious perspective instead of you shouldn't or you can't or you don't say those words. It's like, what's going on with you that you are saying those words? Because that's what we want to remove. That's the stumbling block or the trash on the track that we want to remove so you can move forward towards your goal. So really, when you're thinking about and when you're listening to the other people talk, especially if you're talking to somebody in a deal and they're talking about, I can't do that or I can't do this in the deal, start to question those areas, because you're going to get to a deeper place in that agreement, in that conversation, to move them forward.
Absolutely. Give Terry a round of applause. Terry, I love what you said about it being a introduction or an opportunity to read or see how you're actually, that person's thinking and operating. I found that that is the most valuable part of knowing these words, because once you understand where they're coming from, you realize, okay, this is where they're at. I understand. Okay. Like, even though they're sounding confident, their words actually get
Give them
through the real
away.
message. They give them away 100%. Now, when you're paying attention to yourself, it's the same thing. You may be trying to convince somebody else that you feel confident about this, but your words, they get the message past you, right? They're letting other people subconsciously know that you're not feeling comfortable. The word, oh, I'll try to get there on time, means I really don't give a fuck when I show up, but I'll get there. So, or I'll try to make it, means I'm not fucking coming. I really don't want to go. And so we do it so that we don't have to tell somebody, no, I'm
The
not
truth.
coming. Yeah, the truth, right?
Whether it's ourselves or someone else. And one of the things that I talk about a lot with my clients, and when we really get into more about how to use this stuff, is really, I'm never lying to somebody else. I'm lying to myself, and they just get caught up in it.
Yeah. I love that. It's not us lying to somebody else. It's us lying to ourselves. When I was a kid, I never really liked lying. It was just something that it always bothered me. And growing up, I convinced myself I had a bad memory, because I got caught in a couple lies, and I was like, yeah, I don't lie because I can't remember the lie. I can't hold it together. It's too much effort for me to remember it. And I remember being annoyed as a child that lies took work, and it was like frustrating to me. And so growing up, I just decided I wouldn't do it, because it was just something I didn't want to deal with. I didn't want to deal with the extra headache of it. Who knows the effort you have to put into holding a lie together? Yeah. I'm too comfortable in my life to lie. I've gotten to a point where it just doesn't make sense anymore. And I think that most of you are there too, which is why you hang out with us in this community. Give Terry a round of applause. Phenomenal tip. It's a great strategy and a great way to get past and open up and see more about yourself. Mitch Jaworski.
Yes, sir.
This is your chance.
That was pretty funny about your kind of reasoning for why you don't lie, because I had something somewhat similar. It was more so, since I'm very talkative and transparent, I'm just like, I can't tell lies because I share too much and it's going to end up just coming out. Like, I'm not going to remember not to say that thing, because like filters aren't something that I'm a fan of. Like, so it's out. So if I'm telling lies, like, it's going to end up blowing up in my face. So like, that was always my thing. I'm just like, I can't remember not to say a certain thing or whatever. Like, so it's interesting, the reasons we give ourselves. But hopefully those sometimes are for good things, because obviously lying is not a positive, which leads into, being impeccable with your word. And really a thing that I want to throw out there is, don't get frustrated by others who don't, because if you operate like that, you're going to obviously deal with people, whether it's on a real estate deal, whatever it is, saying one thing, doing another. And you know what? You can't control what they do. Well, outside of what's in the sales contract. So don't let it get to you. Don't let it frustrate you. Don't let it make you want to start being less impeccable with your word, because control with you what you can control. But randomly, you had said something earlier about when it came to basically like planning and whatnot. And I don't know if a lot of people realize, we've talked about vision boards before. In a way, vision boards are like this subconscious way of planning, because you put it out there and you just like, you have these things up there and they're goals. And it's like, even if you haven't set out a clear plan, which you should, you still have these big objects out there that really are, your goal. And you kind of will subconsciously start planning towards them, or you'll track towards them. So if you haven't done a vision board, you should do one. And I think it'll help in that regard in terms of planning and long-term goals. So if you want to buy a multifamily property, well, goddamn it, put a picture of one up on the wall in front of you, and then come join us, talk to me, talk to Galter, and we'll help get you on your way. And for those who are not doing what they should be doing with that, as in analyzing properties, go use my rental property calculator. It's online. It's free to use. If you're not already using it, use it. I'll drop a link in the chat and get on your way.
Absolutely. Give Mitch Jorsky a round of applause. Phenomenal lesson. It makes a lot of sense. And Mitch is our specialist when it comes to evaluating deals. So every so often, someone will ask me, hey, can you look at this deal? And I'll just tell them, hey, go to Mitch. This is what he does. His coaching program, like I say to everybody, is an extreme value. If you want somebody who's done as many deals as him, taking a look at your properties, then you're pretty much guaranteeing yourself you'll at least go into it knowing that it's a bad deal, right? Like if you go do a bad deal, you were told it was a bad deal. And
I have no problems telling someone if the deal sucks.
So you at least paid for the ability to know whether this deal was good or bad, and you can make the decision, a cognizant decision, that you're not going to do a bad deal. And that's what all of this is about. Is you're not forced to do real estate deals. Ron and I try to do one deal a year. I say try because we did 3 this year, and it wasn't necessary, but we did. Was it 3? No, we did 4. So we bought a lot of houses this year. We bought 6 houses this year. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 houses so far. And last year was 1 building, 1 purchase, 24 condos. But we set the goal of doing 1 big deal a year. Set yourself that goal. It doesn't have to be a ton of deals. Do 1 good deal a year and just make it the deal that changes that year, makes that year hit its goals. But get it evaluated. Make sure somebody's taking a look at it. Mitch does it. He doesn't charge very much because he's a really nice guy. I tell him all the time. He's just a really nice guy giving away too much of his time for free. But the fact that he does it is because he's just like you and he wants to see people do well. So Mitch is charging now, and he doesn't charge enough. So Mitch Jorsky, love you, brother.
Thank you, sir. And I think it goes back to making sure everyone lives and dies by Warren Buffett's #1 rule of investing.
Don't lose money.
Don't buy a bad deal.
I love it.
Also, buy a bigger deal, though. Terry says that all the time. It's like, it's like someone says, I want to buy, a 2-family. It's like, well, why not 20?
Yep.
And I love that. You want to know why? Because what that person ends up doing is they end up buying instead a 4 or an 8 or a 12. So it basically pushes your goal that much further. So, shoot for the moon, land on the stars.
Absolutely. Give Mitch Jorsky a round of applause. Darina Pagodina, what was your takeaway today or lesson you'd like to present?
Hi, guys. So I kind of want to go back to our conversation yesterday. It meant so much because I learned that if you say anything to your friend, a family member, person that you know, and you just say without believing that it's true, those words mean nothing. So it's not just only the words that you're choosing to share it, to impact. You have to really, really mean it. If you don't mean it or you don't believe, nobody will believe you. It's almost like unconsciously sensitive feeling that another person will not pick up. If you're not putting all the beliefs and all the meaning into what you're saying, even if those words are good, you will not be able to influence. And that was a big epiphany for me, by the way. And learn how to love the people you're talking to. That way, whatever you say, you believe in it, and people will believe you, and they will take it serious. And therefore, there's no room for negativity, or there's no room for doubt. It's just like if you believe and those words are good and you truly, truly mean it, you will make a big difference.
Absolutely.
That's sort of like my takeaway.
Awesome. So Darina got her own little one-on-one coaching last night. we were watching, there's a new series out on Netflix called Mars. And because Mike and I and many of us are invested in the stocks, and Tesla may be one of them, not that this is any kind of stock advice. In fact, I closed a lot of my Tesla position while it was at the height of the market, and closed a lot of my margin because I got a margin call. I was forced to sell. And so I've made mistakes when it comes to stocks. Fortunately, it's under 5% of my net worth, and it is returning and recovering. But the movie Mars actually talks about where we're at in life now. And they're talking about the adventure and the excitement of traveling to Mars and all the work that gets into it. And in the middle of it, Dorina asked me, she said, how do I work on this situation with my sister? And because she was asking the right question, how do I, instead of saying it's not possible, I can't, she said, how do I do it? I had the answer. Why not? This is how it's done. This is how I influence people. This is how I move people forward. Just do this. And it really is become impeccable with your word, but clear how you feel. See that person is extremely successful and happy. Your words will change. Your words will change. I've said it when I was building a team of real estate agents, and I'll open this up to questions. When I was building a team of 25, I used to do a training every week. In the beginning, I used to think I was the best agent in that room. In the beginning, I was the best agent in that room. When I shifted my mindset and I said, these agents are better than I am at something, I started niching them down, gave one condos, gave one multifamilies, gave one single families in a certain area, started passing it along. I started saying, you're better at this than I am. You're better at this than I am. You're better at the paperwork than I am. You're better at the appointments than I am. And I started saying that, started believing it. The team became better than me. Now, I didn't change my quality. Does that make sense? Hands to the camera if we know what I'm talking about. Like, couldn't take my skill away. Still a top salesperson. But the team started selling more than I was selling. They started outproducing me. And that was because I shifted my mindset and said, these people are better than I am. These people are better at this than I am. That's why I brought them in, because they have the ability to be better than I am. Does that make sense? I feel the same way about my coaches. Every one of you I know is better than me at something. And so I encourage more of it. I want more of it. I want to see you developing yourself and getting to the next level so you can I want each and every one of you to be better at bringing millionaires than I am, so that you can build more people up. Everybody who's gaining wealth right now, you, the future millionaire, I want you to be better at building wealth than I was. I want you to grow faster than I did. I want you to move quicker than I did. I want you to be more alert and more aware and more empathetic than I was as I grew up, as I came into wealth and as I built myself. I want you to surpass me. Your success only improves my life. It only makes me feel better about the things I've done. Does that make sense? Your success in no way can have a negative effect on anyone around you. Your success only improves the lives of the people around you. I just noticed Doug is wearing the 100 Millionaire shirt. Give Doug a round of applause. Doug McGurk, tell us, my friend. Oh, Mitch Jorsky's got it. The 100 Millionaires, it is more than just a thought or a theory. It is a way of life. It is about going out there and adding more value to people's lives, getting them to the next level. There's Steve. I see you, Steve O'Cleef. I didn't see you earlier, but now I see you. Excellent. Glad you made it, my friend. Also in the mentorship. Andy Osai, noticed that you closed the deal this week with our buddy Saeed. Congratulations. Great job. Andy was the wholesaler, brought the deal to Saeed. Phenomenal watching the team work together. I love seeing everybody's success. That said, I've been lately doing a little Gary V hustle. Who here knows who Gary V is? Gary Vaynerchuk. So he's a marketing genius. He's a social media king. Gary has been selling baseball cards. Well, Ron and I found a bunch of video games in a house. And even though the money we're making on this is such small money that it's silly to think that this would be something I'd build a business out of. But at the end of it, we'll probably make $1,000. And, I've picked up pennies because it's money and I respect money. Does that make sense? If money comes to you, take the opportunity. If somebody asks you for help, as long as it's within what you are very good at, you're going to get paid more for the things you're very good at. And you're going to get paid less for the things you're not very good at. So that's where yes and no comes in. Does it make sense? Manny, you're an engineer. Would it make sense for you to help your friends move, or would it make sense for you to help your friends build something that you are more in line with.
Exactly. You want to help someone that you're actually doing, right? So that way you're setting up a success for that person. So you don't want to be leaving something towards someone that you have no knowledge about. So you're not setting that person for a success. So that's not something you want to do.
Exactly. And you're able to help in such a bigger manner with your skill set that you've built over the years, with all the knowledge you've taken in, with all the research you've done, with the practice. You can help far more than if you just went and tried to help somebody with their brakes, right? Like, it just wouldn't make sense. Also, give me a round of applause. He's in the mentorship, him and his wife both. Just a phenomenal power couple working together. They've saved their money. They've invested properly. They're building their education, and they have a phenomenal family setting. They do it all for their family so that they can leave a legacy behind. It's just really amazing, the people we have in here. So I applaud each and every one of you. I'm glad that we got to spend some time together. I'm going to go sell some video games, and I have no shame in it. It really is. It's just a fun thing. And here's what I love. The guys I'm meeting who are buying these, well, I met one guy he was buying it for his son, and like bought a couple of games for his kid, and he was like, "This is awesome. They're gonna love it so much." Good discount for him. But the other guys I'm meeting are reselling. They're taking it. They're going online. They're telling me, "Oh, this game alone's worth $40." I'm like, "Dude, cool. Go make your money. That's awesome. I'm happy for you." He's like, "I just bought this whole thing, and I'm gonna make all the money right on this one game." Great, awesome. You know more about this than I care to learn about. You deserve the money. That's how money works. You're able to go add value to somebody else. Look, they don't want the whole package for this money. They would rather that one game for the same amount of money. That's all they want, is that one game. Does that make sense? So go out there, take opportunities to make money, but if they're not high enough paying, you don't have to take them. If they don't give you fun, I used to love video games as a kid. I can't touch them now. I feel like I'm not doing something important. Like if I play a game, I'd rather play with one of you. I'd rather go out and look at a property. Like, and I don't even look at property anymore, but I'd rather do that than look at a video game. Does that make sense? Yeah. I can't, it doesn't fulfill me. There's no fun for it. But I remember as a kid, I used to love it. So going back and looking at the cases and then, selling them, there's a little bit of enjoyment there. I have fun knowing that these guys are going to go out and enjoy themselves and make some money. If you can find something like that as a side hustle, knock yourself out and do it. But if you can spend more quality time with your family this week, if you can be more impeccable with your word, if you can find a way to improve this, if you pick just one of these words that Doug gave you today, that I gave you today, that Terry gave you, if you just pick one of these words and you improve it today, it changes your entire life going forward. We didn't pick random words that were just average words. We picked the most dangerous words in the human language, in English. And every language has them, but we picked the most dangerous ones in English. Does that make sense? Those are the tools we armed you with. Pay attention to these. There's only 5 or 6 words that really get me uncomfortable. Another one is should, by the way. Should is another word that I should have mentioned. Instead of saying the word should it gives you like.
Are you shitting on us right now?
I would never shit on you, Doug. So instead of saying
do something different.
Instead of saying the word should, say, I will. I will do it, or I will not do it. Or I could do it, but I choose not to. Should gives you excuses, whereas taking action, going and doing things is real. So
It's also living in the past.
It's living in the past.
Should, would, I should have, I would have. So that's all living in the past. Take the lesson, move forward.
Yes. Now, would, it can be powerful. The word would could be powerful because I would do this if I was in your situation, but I'm not. And so I'm doing this. Investing in stocks makes sense when you got $1 million. Investing in real estate makes sense when you got 25,000, right? Big difference in wealth and what you should be doing. So there's a place for the words, but be very careful if you're saying I should do that, because that sentence is dangerous. So focus on these words, write them down. If you didn't write them down, who here wants us to restate the words just so we can go over it again? Would that be valuable to you? All right. Terry, you want to take it from the top? And then Doug, and then Mitch, and then I'll grab anything that you guys miss.
My apologies. I will go last. I was just in a text with Client.
What's are we covering
Whatever, Terry.
the words that we're trying to well
Try.
I said try.
Wow.
Are we covering the words that we're avoiding with number one being try? 'Cause I wrote them down.
Need.
Go ahead.
Need.
Go ahead, Mitch. I'll let you run it.
All right, so
Thank you, Mike.
as we hear often in this group, there is no try, there's do,
Yoda.
right?
Yoda.
And
That's my alarm.
and so Galter, how would you do this one? We don't hope to do something. We don't hope for it. What do? We do it. We take action.
Hope is a beggar. We just do it.
Exactly.
We plan or we take action. Yep.
Yep. Need, I believe, was the other one.
Yep. Need comes from a place of scarcity. Replace need with I want or I am.
Yes, we want to have an abundance mindset.
Unless you're kneading bread, which is okay.
Yes, depending on the spelling of the word, it's okay.
All good.
And then I believe can't was the last one.
And Doug's got a few more. And can't, it stops the mind from thinking. When you say I can't, boom, game over. Rich Dad Poor Dad was the first person. Actually, no, my father said you can do whatever you want. You're just choosing not to. And I was like, oh, fuck, like, you're right. I choose not to. Okay. And then if it was the right thing to do, my dad would be like, well, it's the right thing to do. You better choose to do it. So can't, replace it with I either choose not to or I don't want to. That,
like
be real
that.
with yourself.
And every Saturday, I feel like we have a quote of the morning, and this Saturday was all Doug with "however is but in a tuxedo."
Yeah, it's so good.
Doug, what were your words? You mentioned a few as well.
Well, the context of I have to is similar to I need to, right? Just check your relationship. And that was what I was sharing earlier. And Terry also added to that is checking your relationship with it. When you say it, just have that awareness. And then, do you know what the world's worst sentence is if you're committed to growth? It's a 3-word sentence that stops all growth, all progress, keeps you absolutely stuck.
We'll tell you next week.
Oh, that would have been the greatest pitch ever.
The greatest tease.
I know that.
Oh, yes.
Oh, that's right.
Right.
I knew it.
Doug McGurk is always dropping like major bombs of knowledge. It just blows my mind.
All right, Mike, that just negated everything I just taught. Well, I'm done. I'm signing off.
So,
It's adding to you.
yeah.
Exit stage
So, yeah,
left.
just catch yourself. If you ever say something like, I know that, the truth is, no, the more we learn, the more we realize we know nothing. And the truth is that once we say that, it doesn't matter. Even if it is something that we have awareness of and we have knowledge of, we don't have complete knowledge. And there's always going to be some little tweak, some little shift that can change everything. So just, check yourself. If you find yourself saying some of these words, or you say, oh man, I know that, be willing to question, like, do I really? What else could I learn from this? And it could be profound.
Awesome. Give Doug McGurk a round of applause. Bring in the deep stuff. And the word but, you can replace it with the word and. It doesn't always work, but you can replace it with the word and. And I got to give Paul Fink some credit for highlighting these words for me a few years ago and highlighting it for a few of us. He was a coach. He is a coach, and he was doing his 3-day boot camp, and he just wrote down these words and the opposites. And I thought to myself, wow, if I just changed those words, I'd probably change my whole life. And this community is very tough on those words. Who here has said the wrong word and had Mike Shine almost jump through his camera? Yeah. Who here has caught Mike Shine? That's even more fun. Awesome. Awesome. Give all the coaches a round of applause. Thank you so very much for bringing that to us. Are there any other questions? Is there anything else that we can help you with this week, or questions that came up about being impeccable with your word before we sign off? This is your chance.
I think Robert was asking something before he had his hand up. I don't know.
Robert, do you have something?
Yeah, I do. I can really speak to when I spoke with Terry on the phone, and that phone call has carried me a very long way. Instead of saying I can't or none of that, I just say I will find a way to get it done. And if it doesn't happen right then, I have to be okay with that. But now I'm finding myself using that more often. I'll find a way to get it done. I'll figure out a way to do this, or this, or not. I can't, I won't. So when I'm dealing with clients, I try to use, well, that's the bad word. I started using the F-150 story. And when you use the F-150 story, it opens up clients to other ways that you can assist them versus trying to get all the money up front if they're open to it. So I typically open with, if you're open to this, we can get a deal done. So they have to be open in order to help them. And if they're not open to terms, deals, then it's best to refer them to someone else.
Awesome. I love that. Give Robert a round of applause. And when he mentioned the word can't, Robert, you reminded me that there's only two meanings for can't. It's actually, I don't want to, or I choose not to, or I don't know how. And that was something that Paul Fink brought to me was sometimes people say I can't because they don't know how. And that just goes back to how can I, right? Going and learning, how can I? So phenomenal week. Like I said, I've got a coaching call, I believe, with Matt Bierce. Matt, am I pronouncing your name right? Did I say that right? Matt Bierce?
You are, yes. You're saying that right. Very good. Because a lot of people get that wrong.
How can
so
you
and
get
I
that
got
wrong?
one-on-one. Oh, please.
It's written
Terry.
right
They
there.
could say,
Beers.
they might be able to say Bears instead of Beers.
They'll say,
No.
that's the French.
Or beer set, yeah. It's
Not everyone has easy flowing names like Mike Shine.
You can say it, but you can't pronounce. You can't spell it. So
Mitch Jaworski.
Yes, my name just rolls off the tongue.
Rolls off my tongue.
in high school.
Nice.
It was beers in plural, like you know.
Beers.
all the
Where's
friends.
Beers?
You had
Yeah,
all the
all
friends
the
in high
time,
school.
yeah. Yep.
All right. So it's been a powerful week. You got an even more powerful week ahead of you. Cheers to everyone's success. Matt Bierce, I will see you in 22 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, you have a choice.
Always work with the best.
Work with
You got
the
it.
best.
See you next week.
See ya.